Caleb and Seth and Coach. So, questions?
Yeah, I guess just start with you with this. I guess here in October it was. You're talking about how just being part of coming and seeing the UNC Duke game was part of the reason you came here. You talked about, I guess it was 2 years ago, seeing Franklin Street, being in the locker room. What specific details or scenes still stick out to you that maybe you're looking back to this week?
I remember 2 years ago we played in the locker room. Everybody was really excited, pouring water on Coach Davis, and even just going out on Franklin. You know, I couldn't do anything. I was a kid, but just seeing that atmosphere, seeing everyone out. I mean, it was definitely a lot of fun, and it was just exhilarating, honestly. And, you know, me being a basketball fan and a basketball player, seeing that atmosphere was just really attractive for me.
Jump in.
How do you keep yourself from getting too amped up?
Honestly, I approach this game like I approach every other one. They're just an opponent, and I feel like me doing everything I can is really a battle between me and myself. So, you know, I'm just going to prepare as much as I can to face the team that we're going to play, but it's just a game. No matter the atmosphere, no matter the antics before or after the game, it's just a basketball game.
You've told us quite a few times that you find something that kind of gets you going, the Kansas layup line, for example. Is this so big and so unique that you don't need that?
No, I got stuff that's going to get me going already. I've been at it, so I don't need nothing to happen during the game. I already know what I got.
So if you win, you'll tell us, right?
Yeah, sure. I play them twice.
Can you remember about playing with Boozer, both of them, and the challenge? What are the challenges that he's going to bring to you all this Saturday?
He's a great player, honestly, and he just plays smart. A really cerebral guy. He's not going to be rushed or anything like that. He just plays basketball in a very mature way. He's definitely a great offensive rebounder. He has the ability to score a lot of different ways, a great passer. So, you know, it's all about just keeping physicality with him and keeping body contact and just trying to limit his catches and stuff like that.
Did you get close with him at all, and have you remained in contact with him?
We talk occasionally, and yeah, we were definitely close. We won a national championship. So, I mean, it was definitely a lot of fun, and, you know, winning brings everybody together, so for sure.
Have you talked this week?
No, we haven't talked this week.
Caleb, with those guys, the big guys for Duke, not only are they physical on the inside, but they've been hubs offensively as far as playmaking on the perimeter, setting up Duke's offense. What kind of challenges does that present for you as far as what y'all want to do defensively?
Honestly, I just feel like we just have to dictate the pace of the game, and that's going to allow us to be playing at the best of our ability. They have a kind of a slower play style, like they like to walk the ball up the court and get into their offense and do exactly what they want to do. It's up to us to speed them up and make their simple plays and their execution difficult.
How important is it then to clean up the defensive glass when you guys want to get out and run a little bit?
Very important, honestly. Game is one of the trenches, especially ones like this, all rivalry games. Everybody's coming with all they have, so, you know, it's definitely important to make sure we play as hard as we can, not only on the perimeter, but on the inside also.
Caleb, what have
film sessions been like with the team since the Syracuse game?
We are really just focused on just limiting the things that they do. A lot of flare screens, a lot of rip screens, a lot of back screens, just being physical and making sure we communicate at the highest level.
Caleb, you mentioned, you know, you are approaching this game as if any other, but you've also said a couple of times this season about your legacy here, wanting to leave leave this place better than you found it. Do you think at all about the impact that a game like this and a big performance and a win can have as part of your sort of individual legacy here?
It definitely have a big impact on my legacy, and, you know, I feel like that's something that's really important for me, like you mentioned. And but like I said before, honestly, it's really nobody cares unless you win. So I just am really focused on winning the game. I'm not really focused on my legacy going into this game. I'm focused on winning.
Offensively, what will, I guess, you and kind of the rest of the team have to do to be successful against Duke?
I feel like we just have to, like I said, dictate the pace offensively and defensively. They play a much different style than us offensively, and defensively they are really strong and physical, so our advantage is probably going to be in transition.
When you play on a high school team that has that much talent, when you're looking at colleges, do you want to go somewhere where you can sort of have your own team, for lack of a better term? Like, how important was it that you didn't go to school with the Boozers again and try to recreate it on the college level? Was there something about wanting to forge your own path?
Well, a lot of people don't really know me before I played with Knight Riders, but I played with the Georgia Stars, and we won a lot of games. I was able to show all the stuff I could do, ball handling, all the stuff I could do, but I feel like it was important for me mentally to have the ability to play with talent, because when you go to college and you go to the NBA, you have to learn how to do that. And playing with talent, especially guys that are good players, guys that are unselfish, guys that are winners, it definitely opens your eyes on doing things that star players don't usually do, like boxing out, running the floor, trying to be defensive hub and defensive stopper, just things that I learned how to do and take passion in when I was playing with other talented guys that I wasn't doing before.
Has Seth kind of imparted any wisdom or advice about what this game's like to you and to your teammates that this is the first time getting a chance to play it?
Yeah, he says it's a big atmosphere, and it's like one of the he says the biggest game of your life, and I just think it's gonna be fun. Honestly, I really don't care about the crowd. I mean, me personally, like I'm really excited to go play at Duke too. Like I like to be the villain in games, and I just think it's gonna be a lot of fun, and that's really how I'm looking at it. No matter the crowd, no matter the environment, no matter the atmosphere, it's still a basketball game.
To that same point, what is the coaching staff? Have they imparted anything? Have they told you guys anything, or are they kind of approaching it as business as usual?
They told us it's going to be real. Coach Davis has, but I feel like my coaches and my teammates know that I'm like, me personally, I'm built for the moment. I don't really weather no matter what the atmosphere is. And then we played at Kentucky, we played Kansas here. Like, I know Duke is going to bring more antics and stuff like that, but no matter the atmosphere, like, I'm going to perform. So it is what it is.
Caleb, as a competitor, how kind of helpless did you feel not being a player watching the games last year, and how do you kind of compare that knowing that you will absolutely have an impact on the games this year?
We haven't beaten them in a long time, honestly. I know, like, as he was speaking about my legacy, like, we haven't beat them in probably over 300, 400 days, maybe even more than that. And then even when we lost them in football this year. So it's like, for me personally, like, you got to get a win, man. I'm not going to lie. Like, you can't. If I want to be a legend and I want to, like, cement my name in history, like, this is a very good opportunity for me to do it. And this is a very good time for our school and our team to just have some pride and dignity and get a win in the win column.
What have your emotions been like this week?
I've just been chilling, honestly. It's really hard for me, like, when we had these long breaks in between games, because you're antsy and you wanna play. I like playing a lot. Like, I like playing the games. So for me, it's just I've just been preparing, watching film, practicing, making sure I get extra shots up. But honestly, I've just been treating it like a regular week. It's just.
You felt anything different around campus at all?
Yeah, it's way different. I go to class and people are asking me about the game and stuff like that, and it's like, man, let's just play, bro. Let's get it over with.
I want to ask if it's a good thing, but do you think that the last 9 or so minutes on Monday night kind of gives you guys something to fuel, as if you guys really need anything else extra this week in practice, but do you think it kind of gives you guys that extra, even more jolt to get going into Saturday?
Yeah, I think so. And honestly, I feel like as a team, we're adamant about winning. So especially a game like this, everybody knows, like, the pressure and the need to win this game. So although that could have helped us a lot, we already are, like, on 10, ready to win.
I know you talked about doing something special with your hair for this game. Are you waiting to reveal it, or can you give us any hints as to what you got planned?
It's just a nice pattern. I didn't really do anything crazy. I didn't want to sit down for too long. I just wanted to get a little pattern in, and it'll be cool. It'll be nice.
Obviously, Cameron Boozer gets so much attention. Watching them SAR on the defensive end looks like a guy who you probably can match up with several different players. What have you seen out of them on that end, defensively in particular, and maybe SAR in particular?
SAR's a great defender. He's really active, like Malik Brown. They're adamant about, like, imposing their will. Like they don't. They're relentless. Like they're going to make the ref call a foul. So with them, you just had to be very attentive with your passes. Always know where they are on the court and make sure you use ball fakes and pump fakes because they're going to usually be aggressive and go for them.
Caleb, you mentioned that Coach Davis has told you this is going to be real. Past couple of years when the Duke Carolina games come up, he's used different stories or analogies. How has he been this week? Has he done anything different or special or noteworthy?
He's just been serious, honestly. I mean, I expect some great Coach Davis stories before the game and probably today before we do film. And they always usually get me going, and they just give me another reason to really go out there and play. Because like I play for a lot of reasons. I play for myself and my team, and I also play for my coach too. So just knowing that my coach has passion and is really emotional about the game, it kind of gets me going also.
Is there one thing or story you said that was like, I'm ready to run through a wall?
What do you mean by great Coach Davis stories?
He has a lot of stories about old things that happened in past games, and he was telling us, actually yesterday he was talking about how he remembers all 11 of his matchups with Duke. So that just kind of shows how significant it is, because he always tells us that our memories are going to be things like kind of like emotional things, like how we felt, like how stuff felt after a game, not every second of the game. But he was telling us like yesterday, like I remember every second of every Duke game I played in or coached. So, you know, it just means a lot to know that, like, that just shows you how significant this game is, because that's really important for him.
And how is he when he's delivering that? Like, is he, like you said, is he serious? Is he emotional? Is he kind of wistful? Like, what's that like?
He's emotional, honestly. He's like thinking. I can almost see him like thinking back in his head when he's talking about these stories, because it's like you know how you're sitting there and you're just imagining like what it was like when you were doing this, like, you know how you're thinking about a story in your head, like whenever he's telling the story, especially these stories he's been telling as of late about Duke, is like I can see him in his head thinking and envisioning exactly what was going on.
You may have talked about this, but what was it like to meet Charlie Scott in Atlanta, and how much of the history of this rivalry have you gone back and like sort of looked at, researched, watched some clips on YouTube or anything like that?
Well, I love watching old Duke games, honestly, and I've been watching them for a long time, really ever since I committed. Used to watch them in class in high school, and but now I've probably watched a lot of them, honestly. I remember watching live when Zion Williamson blew his shoe out in that Duke game at Cameron. So, you know, it's definitely like I watch a lot of basketball, and it just kind of, it's crazy the atmosphere and stuff like that I see, but, you know, I'm just excited to be a part of it. And then meeting Charlie Scott was really, really important to me because, you know, as an African American, like just knowing the things that he's done to kind of cement himself in history and kind of break down barriers is really important. And I feel like being the first African American to play in the ACC, especially playing, I think, for Coach Smith, it just means that, you know, that was huge, honestly, because without him, I possibly couldn't be here today.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, Caleb.
Duke. Listen, you want to go watch? Give him a show you the first half of his senior year. He and Leitner went at it. Hubert finished with 35, Leitner had 26. It was 46 all at half, and both of them had like 20-something. It was one of the best halves you'll ever see. Questions?
Your coach could play, Seth.
You know, we know. I watched my film.
Caleb was telling us that he was been telling just a lot of, he called them, I guess, Coach Davis stories this week, and like said, you know, I can see that he remembers every single moment of those Duke games. What are some of the stories that maybe stood out to you, and are there any that you're like, man, like respectfully, this is like the fourth or maybe even eighth time I've heard this in my time here?
Something that just always sticks out to me is not a story in particular, but his passion. Whenever he talks about, you know, this Duke UNC matchup, it means so much to him. It meant so much to him as a player, and it means so much to him as a coach and even as an assistant coach. You know, he takes so much pride in representing the name on our chest during this matchup, and you can tell he really, really wants it. So he's doing everything he can to get all of us on board with it, but he's doing a really good job with it.
You're going into your fourth year of Carolina Duke, obviously, which I feel like is so rare to see now. Guys, you know, stick out their 4 years in the same place. Can you kind of just talk me through, you know, your emotions and then going off of that, are you imparting any wisdom on, an otherwise completely, new roster of guys that have never experienced this before?
Yeah, for sure. My emotions this year have been high. I'm really just cherishing this matchup, this opportunity, and a blessing like this. Everybody, there's a lot of people in this world that would die to be in my position. So I'm really making sure that I'm making the best out of it. This is my last home game with the Duke UNC matchup. So I'm gonna just make it the best that I can. But I'm doing a pretty good job of letting the guys know how much tension there is during this matchup. What the stakes are at. The history, how they beat us 3 times last year, how much it means to this university, to the former players, and just to everybody that represents North Carolina. So guys definitely know that. They know now, and they're on board with it.
To be the only guy that's really been a part of this before on your roster, how much is experience in this kind of game really worth?
It's a huge part. It's a huge part of it. Like I just said a little bit ago, you don't really understand, the stakes of it and what this really means until you're out on that court Saturday and you see it's like no other home game all year. So I think it's a huge part that I'm here and I'm able to share that knowledge and that the coaches are able to share some knowledge, and I think it'll go a long way.
When you've played in this before, especially your first one, how amped up were you then? And did you kind of learn from that? Maybe there's a certain even keel nature that you have to come into this game.
Absolutely. My freshman year, I was super, super amped up. I didn't expect myself to play 20 minutes or to go and have this huge role, but I knew that I was, putting myself into the history books, with this rivalry. So it was a huge blessing. I was super excited, but I did learn that you have to approach it like another game. You have to take that mindset, you have to take the attitude and approach it the right way, but then you also have to, block out the circus, what Coach Davis calls it. You got to block out the fans. Everybody's in your DMs before the games, telling you to please beat them. You just got to block out all the noise from the fans and even friends and family. So,
how hard is that?
When I was younger, it was definitely hard. It was definitely hard just because I was new to it. But now, I'm able to be off of social media. I'm able to ignore when people are talking about the matchup. I'm able just to focus on what it is that we're trying to focus on in this gym and as a team. So it's not too hard for me now, thankfully.
How different is it being kind of one of the only ones on this team to have played in that game? Because obviously in years past, a lot of the other guys have been in this game. But how different is that for you to be one of the only ones on this team?
I don't feel a huge difference with it. There definitely is a difference. I think in the past, coming into this matchup, as a team, we're talking about it, like what happened last year, the experiences with it, how we know the fans will be. But now it's me really telling everybody what it'll be like. So, instead of just coming together as a team and talking about it, it's kind of me, Elijah, Zayden, James Brown's kind of us guys, preaching out, dishing out to our teammates to, get them on board. So it's a little bit more teaching this year, but, I'm all for it.
Seth, in the offseason, you had dinner with a lot of these guys who are now on the team before they committed here. How many times did the Duke game come up in those conversations, in those dinners, and different things like that?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you how many times, but it's definitely part of the recruiting pitch. When you talk about North Carolina, you think about the history, and when you think about the history of North Carolina, you think about this matchup. It's just what comes with it. So it was definitely part of the pitch, and when that's part of the pitch, and you're a player being recruited by North Carolina, it's really hard to not be attracted by that. So it definitely got brought up.
Is it something that usually the guys, not you, the other guys are bringing up, asking you about your experience, or is it normally you telling them, like, hey, about this game?
A little bit of both. I'd probably say more, guys asking me about the experience because everybody's curious. There's no other matchup, no other rivalry like this in college basketball. So definitely more of other guys asking. But like I said, it's part of my pitch. I'm laying it out to the guys. I'm letting them know how it is because, like I said, it's history that nobody but 2 teams gets to be a part of. So super special.
Caleb was telling us that he's watched a lot of old Carolina Duke games on YouTube. Have you done that before one of these games?
I feel like I got a good knowledge of all the North Carolina Duke games in the past, ever since my brother has, gotten to North Carolina. Ever since he rolled as a freshman, I've been locked in on the games ever since. So I haven't really gone back too much. It would be super cool to go back and watch the games, like that pre-2010 era. But I haven't gotten to as much as Caleb has.
Going back on Caleb, he hasn't been afraid to talk about how much his understanding of the Duke rivalry, and he's been very outspoken in his disdain for them. I guess, can you kind of talk about, have you noticed a difference in his approach this week versus any other week? Just because it seems like he's never played in it, but it seems like he's got a great grip on what he's in for already.
Yeah, I think Caleb, he definitely has his own thoughts and his perceptions, what it's like going into this week. But all year long, Caleb has been really, really professional. He's been very appropriate. He's just done the right things leading into games. And I think he's just taking the same mindset because as players at this level, you want to be good. You got to be as consistent as possible in the everyday things in practice. So I think it's just another week at practice for him, but he definitely has in his head, the hatred and, whatever it is that he has for Duke.
The final 9 minutes became kind of the story versus Syracuse, and those kind of lapses or lack of energy at different parts have been, a theme this year. Obviously, maybe that's not an issue versus Duke, but do you feel like you guys have a good grasp of it now heading into this game against a team like Duke who seems to be really, that's one of their strengths is playing 40 minutes every night?
Yeah, we know that we let that last 7 to 9 minutes slip away against that Syracuse game, but we were able to learn from it very quickly and drop it, and I think we're confident that that won't happen this Saturday.
Just going back to Caleb really quick, he's talked so much about 2 years ago, that experience, him coming, getting to see you guys beat Duke at home. I guess that was the Harrison Ingram game. He went crazy. Locker room going on Franklin Street. Do you remember him being there? And if so, maybe what do you remember about that?
I do. I don't have too vivid memories, but I just remember him being in the locker room as we were celebrating that game. And that's really it. That's all I remember about Caleb being here a couple years ago, but I do remember him celebrating with us in the locker room.
Seth, you faced Caleb Foster and Isaiah Evans before, obviously grown into their roles this season. What do you kind of look forward to about those matchups?
Just a tough backcourt that I get to play against. I love competition. I love this matchup, and Caleb and Isaiah, they've done really good things for the team this year. So to be able to step up and take that challenge on the biggest stage possible this Saturday would be super exciting.
You mentioned Coach Davis's passion. Obviously, it's apparent with this game. Like, he's had some different things he's done for the Duke game since he's been head coach. Is there anything notable or different this week, or anything that stands out to you?
Nothing super different. Just like I said about Caleb, Coach Davis is a guy who, does things the same. You're not going to see him, ever take a day off when he comes into work. He's going to bring that passion into the building each and every day. So that's absolutely here coming into this week. But I'm pretty positive Saturday he'll cook something up for us in that pregame speech, and he'll have us ready to go. That's one thing he's great at. I'll give him that.
So we know experience is big, but do you see any positives in there being so many new guys on you guys' side coming into a game in an environment like this?
Absolutely. I think a positive is that guys are going to be super hungry just to get this win. First of all, knowing everything that goes into this matchup, and then knowing that, the jersey that they're representing now, that same jersey lost 3 times last year. They're just going to be super excited just to, put themselves into the history books in the best way possible. So guys are, very, very excited for this game, and it'll be good.
Seth, I know pace is always important for you guys in every game, but how much have y'all really emphasized this week, knowing Duke likes to slow it down and grind it out, and your role in that, pushing the tempo?
That's a huge point of emphasis for us. Every game it is, but we know especially in games like this, we feel like there's not a lot of teams in college basketball that can keep up with our pace. So we're going to try and use it to our advantage and just take control of the transition game. But we know if we can control that and do what we need to do, we can put ourselves in a good position.
Seth, you've spent a lot of time in this building during your career, but even before it. There's been a lot of debate about what to do about the Smith Center. I just wondered your perspective on this building, on this place, what it means being on campus, all that stuff.
Yeah, I think everybody in this building, everybody here knows how much the Dean Smith Center means to everybody. The history, the players that have came through here, the coaches that have coached here, it means the world to Carolina fans. But I mean, I think at the end of the day, whatever it is they decide to do is going to be the right decision, and Carolina history will continue. You know, obviously we'd love to see the Dean Smith Center still around, but if they go another direction with that, then we're just going to have to bring the history there. But yeah, man.
Thank you, everybody.
That's all I got.